Hello and welcome to this next session for the A4Q Testing Summit 2026. I hope you already enjoyed the first speeches today, and much more is coming today and tomorrow. So check out the program and find the right slots where you want to participate and want to join. Now, in this session, I would like to welcome Mesut Durukai. He's a senior QA engineer and brings nearly 20 years of experience in quality assurance, different industries from automation, quality, cloud services, defense, autonomous robots, much more. And I had the pleasure to meet him in different conferences the last years and see his speeches there. And also he was part of my podcast show there too, where we had a good conversation. So I'm really happy that he's now here. And he will talk about the Zen of Testing. So I think a very interesting topic, curious what he will talk about. So enjoy this presentation now, and don't please forget to vote for the best speaker and the best presentation with this QR code here up to my shoulder, so you can vote for it on our website. And also please use the chat during the speech and ask your question you are interested in, so we can deal with that at the end of the session. And now I would say welcome and hi, the stage is yours, Mesut. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Richard. Thanks for the nice introduction. And I'm happy to present. And if I have my presentation on the screen, I will start. Yes. So as you told, we will talk about Zen of Testing. My name is Mesut Durukai. The QR code you are seeing on the screen links to my LinkedIn account, so feel free to get connected. Right now I'm in Belgium, where I relocated in about 3 months ago. Before I was living in Japan. This is how I prepared these slides, Zen of Testing, because we will talk about some Japanese philosophy and we will make a lot of analogies in testing. I'm saying testing, but it's not only testing, it is the whole quality assurance approach. And we will talk about several issues we can improve and how we can get some insights from the Japanese philosophies or Japanese way of living. So why am I saying Zen of testing? Because Zen is a word, originally a Chinese word coming from Chan, which means meditation. How meditation is related to testing, we will see, but it emphasizes direct experience, like using the product directly and looking from the end user's perspective and even making an impact as a quality assurance person to the other members in the whole project, in the whole team, and mindfulness about thinking different scenarios, different cases, different initiatives to improve our quality, not only in the product, but also in the processes as well that we follow, and the practice of meditation, right? Practicing a lot of these kind of initiatives and trying to perform or sustain the continuous improvement. So as a short, it's a path to enlightenment. I feel this is very related to the testing or the quality assurance, because who are we as the quality assurance people? We are the people who are providing feedback, right? Early feedback. We try to shift everything left. We try to make everything very fast and in the first place, and try to avoid issues in the first place. Like if we have any bugs or issues, of course, it is better to fix them very easily, very quickly. But what if we avoid having them in the first place? That is the goal, right? That is the idea. So this is our path to enlightenment and understanding the whole big picture and providing the feedback already in the first place. So what I will do is I will take you to an imaginary visit where we will see a shrine. Shrine is a kind of temple in Japan. So we will see several images, several figures, several activities going on, and we will try to understand how we can reflect them into our testing processes or the flows. So imagine this. You are going to a travel with me, an imaginary travel we will see a shrine. We will visit, we will make a visit for about 20 minutes, and then we will conclude our trip by the end of this presentation. First, when we are approaching to the shrine, one of the very first things is, I'm not sure how many people already have been in Japan, but you will most of the time see some fox figures in front of the shrine. Even before entering it, you will see it. It will welcome you. Sometimes it is cats, but most of the time it's a fox. And why? There is a reason for that. It is not a random choice because they symbolize intelligence, adaptability, and transformation. And I will show you an example. Like if you see the movie 47 Ronin, which is another amazing philosophy, which has amazing philosophy about the Ronins. I will explain what a Ronin means as well in the next slides. A Ronin is a special type of samurai which does not have a master anymore and trying to search for a new goal for his life. But anyways, I will come to that point, and if you saw this movie, you will remember the character Mizuki, the witch of Lord Kira, right? Indeed, she was not a person, she was a fox, and transforming to a human from time to time. So Japanese people believe that fox can do this, can transform into human, and even the Japanese way of picking up a phone call, is saying moshi mosh, because they believe this is a tongue twister that fox cannot do. Like if you answer the phone with mosh mosh, then the other people can understand, okay, this is a human, because otherwise, if it was a fox, then they wouldn't do this. It is a tongue twister, which is very difficult for fox, right? So this is the main idea. So why am I explaining this fox to you? Because we can be the fox of our quality assurance approaches or the initiatives. What does it mean? Fox is a messenger of God, right? It is whispering always the truth or the ideas that we have to follow. Same. Sometimes, as quality assurance people, as quality coaches, we whisper to people, did you already write the unit test? Did you already cover component tests? Did you already follow these standards? Did you already consider quality in mind in the first place? As messenger of the quality in all the aspects, in all the fields of our product. Verification and human interaction. We always think about human aspect, right? Human aspect of things, right? You can always automate things. You can always ask AI agentic flows to implement test cases, but there will always be a need for verification and validation, right? Verification and validation are things completing each other to have an understanding or feeling. Feeling is not machine, right? It is human aspect. So to get an insight about this, we need this quality assurance mindset. Transformation and adaptability to adapt all the new approaches into our processes. Mystery and hidden layers, we try to figure out the struggles or the problems, issues, vulnerabilities in the code. And as a summary, eventually, we are the guardians of quality. If something is risky, then please fix it. We are the guardians. We do not try to let issues go in production environments. Very similar next item. When we say we try to stop the issues going into production. Torii gate. Torii gate is the gate of the shrine from where you can pass through and you can actually enter the shrine. So this is the entry point. This is the gate where all the issues are stopped behind and only yourself with a clear mind is proceeding through. What does it mean? Actually, when you visit a shrine, you respectfully greet and you enter, and from that point, you don't mind anything else. Just concentration, just pure mind, clear mind, and focus on your visit. Leave all the issues you have in daily life behind and do not let them go with you. This is the entry point. This is the issue where we block all other problems and do not let go in our environment. These are all the images, real images, by the way, taken by me from lots of different places. Because if you visit Japan, you will see shrines everywhere, even on a small, tiny island in the middle of a ocean or on top of a mountain. Everywhere, you will see it everywhere. It's very fun, and it's most of the time the same type, the same color. So you will see even the quality standard over there. So wrapping up the importance of quality gate, Tory gate, actually it's a quality gate in our terminology, right? So it marks a transition. So we understand when we pass through our tests or the quality assurance activities, then we understand we are ready. We are ready to go. We don't have any problems with us anymore. We already stopped them. So this is the entrance point for us. So I have to understand when I run my tests, then I'm ready. So my test should be reliable. Again, I'll come to that point as well. But when I run my test cases, if I'm not really 100% sure, because sometimes tests are passing, but they are not capable of finding the issues. Green pipeline doesn't give me a clue. If that is the case, then it's not good, right? It means my tests are not reliable. On the other hand, if tests are failing, but they are not real issues, then it means they are false alarms. Again, a reliability issue. But again, we will see how we can improve that point. But one thing about this reliability of the tests or uh, making really issues not going into production environment is depends on how we design our test cases. So when we talk about design, I will make the analogy of origami, which is an art of designing the papers where you start with a single simple sheet and you end up with amazing images or figures or some objects, right? So this is the idea of going into complexity or even elegance from simplicity. How we can understand or interpret this in our terminology? Sometimes we try to make or design a test case, test scenario, right? We start from a single step and we try to cover lots of steps, making a user scenario, end-to-end scenario. Sometimes I have some experience where different test cases conflict with each other. One test is running, and whenever another test is running in parallel, they are blocking each other because some test is maybe creating some objects, the other is trying to delete them. So after creation of those objects, you will not find them anymore. So the test verification will fail. So which means actually we did not design those test cases very well. Why did we put those steps in different cases? I mean, that might be the case, but in that case, we can even design the pattern of our execution, right? If we put some tests which are blocking each other into the same suite, which are running in parallel, then obviously it will block or it will fail our pipeline. So the design to make this art of implementing steps consecutively or even the test cases executing consecutively or in parallel very carefully again is very important, and it is an art. Sometimes you can spend some decent time on making these execution patterns to find the optimum way, because if you run all the tests serially one after another one, then it will take too much time. Obviously, you need some parallelization. But if you parallelize all the test cases, sometimes you will have some sweet dependencies, some conflict issues. So finding this sweet point is an art by avoiding duplication, avoiding doing the same steps in different test cases, and designing the optimum pattern by maximizing the efficiency in terms of time and in terms of risk of flakiness. Moving on, another similar idea is removing the noise in our environments. I will now refer to the Zen gardens. Whenever we continue our visit in the shrine, we will see a separate part inside the garden of the shrine, which is the Zen Gardens, which is a minimalistic garden designed to create peace and focus. So as you see, there's nothing, just sand and some rocks. Actually, they are representing something like only the natural elements. Sand is actually referring to the water, like the wavy water you will see as the white sand over there, and the rocks are the mountains for the nature. This is again for focus and peace and just removing all the noise but keeping only the natural elements. So how we can interpret this in our test execution environments? Again, if you have any other traffic which are breaking your test, especially for think about load testing, right? If you are trying to do this in your production environment, then not good. Maybe you will affect the real traffic. And similarly, the real traffic made by the real interactions will affect the testing queries and the testing responses. So preparing your environment is very important, not only for test execution, but also performing our activities. Even if you are tracking your metrics, still very important to prepare an environment which is very transparent and informative, right? For example, if you try to track the test execution duration, for example, are you easily able to figure out the execution duration for every single test case, even excluding the tear down or preparation steps? If you want to, for example, track the resolution date, average resolution date for your bugs, reported bugs, are you able to, from your issue tracking systems, it might be Jira or anything else, are you able to find these numbers, find these metrics? Because sometimes I know we use some systems, but they're not optimized. We just follow the default templates, the default lifecycle, and they're not clear enough. We don't really see when the issue was taken into active state and then when it was taken into review state. So all these single transitions might be very clear to give us the relevant information. So please concentrate on preparing our environments, working environments, test execution environments, monitoring environments, dashboards, charts, everything very clear and very focused to represent our goals. Because sometimes we do our monitoring activities, but we don't really know the purpose. Like, okay, let's follow the number, bug number. Why? I don't know. It's good, right? Just follow the bug number. So, but really, why? We should have a purpose. Like, are you trying to reduce the number of escaped bugs? Or are you trying to reduce the average resolution time? So, first of all, set your goals and focus on this goal by preparing your environment to reflect all this information. Moving on. Again, going back to the stability or the reliability of test cases, we need a long and healthy test cases, right? What it means is if it is failing too much, if it is flaky, if it is fragile, like it starts failing whenever we change the environment, whenever we change the parameters, the test is not running anymore, right? It means it should have a long life. Whenever a detail in the locator changes, our test case should still survive, right? If it is too fragile, like if you are adding, for example, in terms of, again, locators, if you are putting too much dependencies by reflecting the whole architecture of the dome structure, then it's obviously very fragile. Instead of just trying to get by role or get by ID, if you are following these fragile patterns, then it's not good, right? So all this is just a very simple example, but of course, not only locators, but the whole code quality of our test implementation. So all we are talking about is having a long life for the test case. So our analogy here is eating noodles in, especially in Christmas times. Japanese people do this because they believe noodles are ramen noodle or udon or any other type of noodle. They believe it is long, right? So when they eat this at Christmas time for the next year and next years, upcoming years, they will have a long and healthy life. So this is why they follow their habit to eating noodles, especially in the Christmas time. So what we do is to have a long and healthy life in our test cases. We should follow our practices and approaches to keep quality in mindset. So when we are talking about code quality, it is not only about product code, but also about test code as well. It is very important. And I'm really advising my teams to take code review too much seriously, especially for the test code, because just like you do for the production code, right? Test code is still a part of our repository. So why don't we really make a very strong code review and still apply a very strong quality gate to our test code? If there are any issues, do not let them go. Apply the Tori gate, right? Stop all the issues behind and proceed with only the relevant information that we need or the scope that we need. We mentioned reliability issues, right? We mentioned smells. So sometimes when our test cases fail, what do we do? I saw some teams, some people, where they really gave up tracking these flakiness or the failures. Because every day some tests are failing. By the way, it is normal. I mean, if every day it is failing, it is not normal, but it is normal to have some flakiness at some level. There is no zero flakiness, right? There might be some timing issues. There might be some issues due to the nature of the product. So some tests might fail from time to time. What do? We do not forget it and we do not just ignore it, but we embrace it, right? Now our analogy is the kintsugi, which is another art of repairing broken pottery. If it is broken, fix it, but fix it with gold. Fix it not with any random stuff, but fix it with something really valuable materials. So if we have a failure, if we have a broken test, it's normal. Do not give up on tracking those. Try to fix all of them, but not just temporary fix, right? Some valuable fix which can survive in the long term. Like we should really understand the root cause. Why the test starts failing. There are dozens of types of test smells. Please go and look for the types of test smells you might have in your repository or in your test code, and you will see a lot of issues which are causing false alarms or the silent horror cases in your test executions. Try to fix them, and after a good and proper root cause analysis, apply the long running fix. Not only just saving the date, but if the a refactoring is needed for maintaining the whole repository, then spend some time on it and try to recover them, which will make them again having a long and healthy life. Moving on, we always discuss about automation testing, but there's another side of the medallion, which is the manual testing, right? It is always needed, it is always in place. And one analogy that I can use to refer to one type of manual testing, or it can be done in automated ways as well, but another type of testing, which is the exploratory testing, right? Which we can refer to a Ronin's journey. So I mentioned before, a Ronin is a masterless samurai. As you remember, if you saw the 47 Ronin movie, their master were murdered by someone, and their goal was first taking the revenge and then preparing another setup or something else. But first of all, achieving their initial goal and then proceed with their eventual target, right? So at the moment, if a Ronin is not having a master and who is searching for a new goal, for a new target, new setup, then it is called, that samurai is called a Ronin, and it starts a journey. So, of course, it's varies a little bit in our context, but we can use the same analogy. Like We are searching for a goal. We have a target in mind. Like, remember, when you are doing the exploratory testing, you prepare a chart, right? You define your goal, you define your scope, what you want to go over, and what you try to find, and do some exploratory. On the way, you try to search lots of things, you try to observe things, explore things, and you wrote down all the observations, and you make them as a input for our feedback mechanism. Right, this is the analogy we can use to perform our exploratory testing sessions or activities. And why is it important? Because I'm just leaving research results here, which is showing the importance of exploratory testing. And we can do several types of experiments in this manner. Like, there's a concept called shoe test, which is just doing random activities. Or again, it might be in a structured way by defining a scope and charter. So moving on, the last three aspects, I think. Bonsai trees is when you start growing a tree early in the first stage, like whenever the tree is very young, when we start doing that, growing the tree, then we take control already. We can shape the leaves in the way that we want, right? So you already understand what I'm saying? It is shifting left, it is starting early, being involved early. If it is already mature, then it is very difficult to take the control, and we cannot shape in the way that we want anymore, right? So involve in the early stages, in the first stages of the development activities, so that you already have the control. If it is mature already, then it's not difficult, it's not easy anymore. Calligraphy, documentation. How we can interpret this is, it's not only writing documents, right? So we are doing agile, we are not writing hundreds of requirements documents anymore, but documentation is not only writing Excel files or the document files, it can be any type of documentation. So maybe preparing some dashboards to reflect our metrics, or maybe preparing some presentations, some charts, which is showing the trends, or which is showing the critical violations that we might have in our environments. So just like doing the calligraphy, by carefully highlighting the important strokes, like what is very important for us, document this. For example, for the important decision taking mechanisms, we can make this analogy to prepare a documentation which helps all the people to understand what we are trying to achieve and what kind of alternatives we have. And by means of this approach, then we can better make a standard of a common understanding. And finally, number 10. We went over 9 different analogies so far. The last is kaizen. Kaizen is the mindset of always improving something. So this is not even an analogy anymore for us, right? Continuous improvement is already an important quality aspect that we should always keep in mind. So we can improve everything in the process that we are following, everything in the product in all aspects, not only functionality, but also non-functional aspect, the performance of the product, the usability, maintainability, and all the quality aspects that we can keep in mind. So I will give you a couple of seconds to think about which of the analogies you already remember. We went over 10 of them. And please try to remember in your mind, but I'll show you the summary in a second, which were these 10 principles or the analogies, right? Be a messenger of your project. Be the messenger of the quality. Always whisper the quality to people. Set up your quality gates. Not only running tests and doesn't give a clue, but a reliable quality gate. If you run the test, then you are sure that you are ready to go. You block everything, and you are able to rely on the test results. make your design like doing an origami by avoiding duplication elegantly. Choose the best patterns to minimize the risk and maximize the efficiency. Prepare your environments. Focus on your goal. If you are tracking some metrics, what is the purpose? Define your scope and focus on this purpose. Longevity, healthy and long-running test cases. So think about code quality. Remove test smells. If you have any failures, do the root cause analysis and apply the fix. Not only automation, but also manual testing as well. Sometimes exploratory sessions. And whatever you do, do it fast, do it early. Shift left. And document whatever needed. Not comprehensive documentation, but at least what we need. And whatever we do, we always think if we can do in a better way. Continuous improvement, right? Continuous improvement, continuous development, all these kind of initiatives, and try, observe, adapt. This is the traditional agile life cycle, right? So final cookies. If you are interested in some more Japanese philosophy, feel free to take a look on these books. And this concludes my talk. And if we have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mesut, for these analogies. I like them so much, so it was really a pleasure to see these metaphors, how we can fit that to our testing field and QA field. Yeah. For you, the people, don't forget to do the voting for the best speaker and the best presentation. You will see in shortly the QR code here. But we have two questions to answer here for you, Mesut. And the first one is, do you have any tips to implement Zen also in our personal testers' life, like self-care or something?
I think so. Yeah, like we discussed about clearing the mind, right? Putting our focus on whatever we are doing. So it's not only running tests, or it's not only about quality assurance approaches. It's about anything we do. Like when I'm doing something, then I have to focus on what I'm doing, and I have to prepare my environment. If there are anything which distracts me, I can get rid of them, like preparing the Zen garden for me, right? My environment, and then clear my focus. If needed, sometimes make a documentation. Sometimes I do that. I make a to-do list for my personal life. I put my priorities and I try to go over them. And whenever I start something, I try to remove everything which can distract me, and I can set up my focus and I can concentrate on whatever I am doing. So I believe it is applicable in our personal lives as well.
Yeah, and as you said, I think clarity is so important now these days, where we have all this chaos around us from all the tools. Yeah, so much.
Correct.
Thank you so much. And we have another question. What analogy can we use for our collaboration within the team, e.g. with devs and testers?
I think, again, it depends. Any analogy can be done. Like, for example, for collaboration, especially, I like the exploratory sessions, because sometimes how it works is I reserve some time for the whole team, not only testers, but also developers, testers. It might be exploratory testing session, or it might be bug bashes. So all the team sits together and try to understand how the feature works and try to figure out if there are any issues. So I believe this is a good way of collaboration, because everyone is becoming on the same page, having the common understanding. Because otherwise, if we don't work together, sometimes there are some misunderstandings between developers and testers. They don't really talk too much all the time. So if we spend some time on doing the same activity at the same time, and if we have any questions, ask to each other, talk to each other, then I think it's a very good way of collaboration. So again, we can use any of them depending on the scope. But if you ask me one of them, probably I would pick the Ronin's journey, which is the exploratory testing session.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, Mesut. Thank you that you shared your knowledge here. I always appreciate that when I hear your talks.
My
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you so much. And for you, other people, join the other sessions too today and tomorrow. Watch the program and don't forget to vote. And have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.